Hi, I'm Donna Fields and welcome to CLIL Scaffolding 6, a series of webinars designed to give you support for using scaffolding in your classroom. Scaffolding is used to bridge learning gaps between what the student has learned in the past to what they're expected to know at certain points in their education. I say giving a helping hand. You can find these techniques in my book 101 Scaffolding Techniques for Language Teaching and Learning. That's also been translated into Spanish. This technique helps activate more sophisticated memory skills instead of rote memorization, which is a practice that usually goes into short-term memory and then is quickly forgotten. We want to help students embed words and terms in their long-term memory. So how do we do this? Let's look at a secondary political science class. We're about to teach a chapter on the history of Rome's government. The text is designed for secondary students. However, if you have students whose home language is different from that of the text, you'll need to give them language support so that they assimilate the content with far less stress. Frankly, even those students whose language is English, in this case, might have problems with the vocabulary if they're not well read. So first, we take the text and we identify the words and terms that might be foreign to students or that might have different meanings in different subject areas. Second, we type these identified words into text boxes. I'm showing you 6 of the words I've chosen. I usually make a set of 15 to 20 for this activity. Third, we find an image to add to each text box. The studies show that using images plus text doubles the learning impact. You can find literal images of the word, and that pushes the students even further to distinguish between more than one meaning of the same word. Fourth, we give the students the tools that will help them feel confident and so successful when speaking. So we prepare and hand out a decipher sheet that shows the words you've identified, their meanings in the context of the text they're going to read, and sentences using those words in that context. Now the activity. Cut up the text boxes individually and give each pair a set. They place 5 to 6 of them down at one time. One student turns around while the other student takes one of the cards away. The first student turns back and has to remember which card is missing. Say the word, describe the image, define the word, and then use that word in a sentence. You can decide if they can read the definition and sentence from the decipher sheet. The activity continues until you're convinced that the students have assimilated the meaning of the words fairly well. I'd say 15 to 20 minutes maximum. You can always repeat the activity another time. Let's try this in a primary natural science class. We're about to begin a chapter on energy. Now, I usually go to the review pages at the end of the chapter because that's where you'll find all the vocabulary the students will need to know, instead of going page by page trying to find the words that way. So, same as before, we identify the academic words. The obvious ones here are highlighted. However, for students whose home language is other than the language of this text, there are more academic words that are not so obvious. These words are, for instance, form, heat, non-living, knife, plug, burn, bulb, noise, and switch, and more. So we put these words into text boxes. We add images. We give them a decipher sheet. And I'd say in primary, it's less important to stress the definition than it is for them to use the words in sentences. The images are fairly self-explanatory. Here's a table you can give them. Then, cut up the text boxes individually, give a set to each pair of students. One student turns around, the other student takes one away. The first student turns back and needs to remember the missing word. State the word, describe the image, and use it in a sentence. The activity continues until the students are more comfortable with the words and are able to use them in sentences fairly easily. And that's it, a scaffolding technique you can try in your classes to help your students learn academic language. So all you super teachers out there, I hope to see you next time. In the meantime, please send any comments you have to either LinkedIn, Pinterest, Facebook, or Instagram, and have fun in your classes. See you soon. Bye.